19 players were drafted before Jaxon Smith-Njigba in the 2023 NFL Draft. That class was stacked with potential: quarterbacks, edge rushers, offensive tackles, but one of college football's most polished receivers had to wait until pick number 20 to hear his name. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, the smooth route runner from Ohio State, entered the league with sky-high expectations after his record-breaking Rose Bowl performance. Since then, he's flashed the same elite footwork and hands that made him one of the most complete receivers in his class. He's currently leading the NFL in receiving yards and playing the best in the game. But what about the 19 players picked before him? Some became instant stars, others still finding their footing, and a few have already started to fade from the spotlight. Today, we're taking a look back at the hits, the busts, and everything in between to find out what happened to the 19 players drafted before Jaxon Smith-Njigba. First player drafted. Bryce Young was drafted first overall by the Carolina Panthers in the 2023 NFL Draft, but getting him came at a massive price. Carolina traded away a haul to move up to the top spot, sending multiple first-round picks, seconds, and their star receiver DJ Moore to the Chicago Bears. It was an all-in move, one that told the world the Panthers believed Bryce Young could be their franchise savior, and for good reason. Young had been a generational prospect since high school. At Mater Dei in California, one of the nation's most dominant programs, he threw for over 13,000 yards, 152 touchdowns, and led his team to a national championship. He was calm, accurate, and unstoppable under pressure. The top-ranked dual-threat quarterback and a consensus 5-star recruit. Originally committed to USC, Young flipped to Alabama, choosing to develop under Nick Saban's system instead. By his sophomore year in 2021, he took over as the Clemson Tide's starter and immediately became one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Nearly 4,900 yards, 47 touchdowns, and a Heisman Trophy. The first quarterback in Alabama history to ever win it. His field vision, pocket presence, and anticipation made him look like a veteran among pros. Even when Alabama's roster took a step back the next year, Bryce carried them through the SEC battles, showing the same leadership and resilience that defined his career. When draft night came, the Panthers ignored the size concerns. They saw intelligence, accuracy, and calm under chaos, traits they hadn't had at quarterback in years. But 1 year in Carolina was brutal. The team around him wasn't ready. The offensive line collapsed, the receivers struggled to separate, and the coaching staff couldn't find consistency. Not the debut anyone expected for the first overall pick. Still, the flashes were there. His quick release, his composure, and his ability to stay poised even when everything around him broke down. Now, as the 2025 season gets underway, Carolina is finally starting to give him a real shot. A rebuilt offensive line, a new coordinator, and a true #1 receiver. Early in the year, Bryce looked sharper, more decisive, and more comfortable commanding the offense. The road hasn't been easy, but that's never stopped him before. From Pasadena to Tuscaloosa to Charlotte, Bryce Young's always carried the weight of expectations, and now in 2025, he's starting to show why Carolina traded everything to get him. Second player drafted. CJ Stroud was drafted second overall by the Houston Texans in the 2023 NFL Draft, one pick after Bryce Young, and from day one, he looked like a franchise quarterback. Stroud grew up in Ranchero Cucamonga, California, where his path wasn't built on hype but on steady, relentless improvement. He wasn't a 5-star prospect or the face of a national powerhouse like some others in his class, but by his senior year, everyone in the country knew his name. He threw for 3,800 yards and 47 touchdowns as a senior, earning a 4-star ranking and an invitation to the Elite 11, where he won MVP honors and skyrocketed up recruiting boards. He committed to Ohio State, joining one of the deepest quarterback rooms in the nation. Stroud redshirted his first year in 2020, watching from the sidelines as Justin Fields led the Buckeyes to the national championship game. But when Fields declared for the draft, Stroud won the starting job and instantly proved he was ready. Over the next 2 seasons, Stroud became one of the best passers in college football. He threw for more than 8,100 yards, 85 touchdowns, and just 12 interceptions, leading Ohio State to back-to-back playoff appearances. His accuracy, anticipation, and calm in the pocket made him look like a 10-year veteran, surrounded by elite receivers like Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Stroud operated Ryan Day's offense like a machine. By the time the 2023 draft arrived, his precision and decision-making made him one of the safest quarterback prospects in the class. The Texans took him second overall, and they made a bold move, trading back up to #3 to grab pass rusher Will Anderson Jr. It signaled something clear. Houston wasn't rebuilding anymore. They were building around CJ Stroud. From his first NFL game, he looked the part. Stroud's rookie season was one of the best ever for a first-year quarterback. 4,108 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. He was named Offensive Rookie of the Year, and his Week 9 explosion, 470 yards and 5 touchdowns against Tampa Bay, cemented his arrival as a star. But the sophomore year brought its challenges. Defenses adjusted, injuries hit the Texans' offensive line, and the team battled inconsistency on offense. Stroud still showed flashes of brilliance, but there were moments of struggle, tighter windows, more pressure, and growing pains that come with every young quarterback's second act. Houston still competed, but the magic of his rookie season faded just a bit. In 2025, he's playing better than he did last year, but the team isn't where they want to be yet. He still has a big target, Nico Collins, with a new offensive line.
Pick to the Houston Texans. With the third pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Will Anderson Jr., linebacker, Alabama.
Third player drafted. Will Anderson Jr. was drafted third overall by the Houston Texans in the 2023 NFL Draft, right after the team took CJ Stroud at number 2. Houston shocked everyone by trading a massive haul to move back up, sending multiple first-rounders to Arizona just to secure Anderson. It was bold, aggressive, and a clear message. The Texans weren't waiting to build. They were building their new core now. Anderson came into the league with more hype than almost any defensive player in that class, and he earned every bit of it. Growing up in Hampton, Georgia, he dominated high school football at Dutchtown, where he was a 5-star recruit and the #1 ranked edge rusher in the country. At just 17, he already looked like a college linebacker playing against kids. When he arrived at Alabama, he didn't need time to adjust. He made an instant impact. As a freshman in 2020, he recorded 7 sacks in just 13 games, helping the Tide win a national championship. But it was the next 2 years that turned him into a legend. In 2021, Anderson exploded for 17.5 sacks and 31 tackles for loss, one of the most dominant defensive seasons in SEC history. He was unblockable, fast off the edge, powerful through contact, and relentless on every snap. He finished his college career with 34.5 sacks and a Bronco Nagurski trophy as the nation's best defensive player twice. When draft night came, he was the clear-cut best defensive prospect available, a blend of Nick Bosa's motor and Micah Parsons' versatility. The Texans saw him in the cornerstone of DeMeco Ryans' defense, and his impact was immediate. Anderson's rookie season in 2023 was strong, and a Defensive Rookie of the Year award to match Stroud's on offense. Houston had just pulled off something rare, the Offensive and Defensive Rookies of the Year on the same team. His chemistry with Ryans, a former linebacker himself, was instant. Anderson became the heart of a defense that helped Houston reach the playoffs just a year after going 3-13-1. But like Stroud, his second year came with challenges. Opposing offenses started keying in on him, throwing double teams and chips his way every week. His raw numbers dipped, but his presence still changed games, setting edges, creating pressure, and opening lanes for teammates. Even when the stats slowed down, his impact didn't. In 2025, he established himself as one of the premier young edge rushers. Fourth player drafted. Anthony Richardson was drafted 4th overall by the Indianapolis Colts in the 2023 NFL Draft, one of the most athletic quarterback prospects of modern era. Richardson had the tools of a generational talent. The question was never about his potential. It was whether he could put it all together. A Gainesville, Florida native, Richardson stayed home to play for the Gators, where he became known for highlight reel plays that showcased his elite athleticism. But he was raw, flashes of brilliance mixed with inconsistency. In 2022, his lone year as a starter, he threw for 2,549 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, while adding 654 rushing yards. The film showed chaos and magic, a quarterback who could dominate any play or derail it just as fast. The Colts took their shot anyway, drafting him 4th overall and pairing him with Shane Steichen, the coach who helped turn Jalen Allen into a star. But Richardson's rookie season in 2023 was cut short, just 4 games before a shoulder injury ended his year. He returned in 2024 and showed real flashes of growth in moments where he looked like the future of the franchise. But the inconsistency remained. Accuracy issues, missed reads, and another late-season injury raised new questions. That uncertainty led Indianapolis to make a bold offseason move, signing Daniel Jones in 2025. From training camp onward, Jones looked more comfortable running Steichen's offense, experienced, calm, and efficient. By week 1, the Colts named him the starter. And through the first stretch of the 2025 season, Jones has rewarded that decision. He's been steady, protecting the football, managing drives, and giving Indy its most consistent quarterback play in years. The offense has rhythm again, the locker room has confidence, and for the first time since Andrew Luck, the Colts actually look stable at QB. Meanwhile, Richardson remains on the sideline, still the athletic marvel, still the future project. The organization hasn't given up on him, but for now, they're rolling with what works. Daniel Jones isn't as flashy, but he's been the better quarterback. Anthony Richardson's story is still being written, a gifted athlete learning the hardest position in football. But as of 2025, the Colts' bold experiment has taken a backseat to practicality. The future may still belong to Richardson, but the present, for now, belongs to Daniel Jones. Fifth player drafted. Devon Witherspoon was drafted 5th overall by the Seattle Seahawks in the 2023 NFL Draft. A fiery, undersized corner with an oversized attitude and a motor that never shuts off. He wasn't the biggest and he wasn't the fastest, but nobody questioned his heart. Witherspoon brought an edge that made him impossible to ignore. His path to that moment was far from typical. Coming out of Pensacola, Florida, Witherspoon wasn't a big-time recruit. In fact, he didn't even start playing football seriously until late in high school. He was a 0-star prospect for most of his senior year, overlooked by nearly every major program. But Illinois took a chance, offering him a scholarship after seeing just a few games of film. That bet would change both of their futures. At Illinois, Witherspoon blossomed into one of the toughest defensive backs in the country. He was fearless in coverage, flying downhill on tackles and talking trash every step of the way. By his senior season in 2022, he had become a lockdown corner. Scouts loved his film. His confidence, physicality, and competitive fire jumped off the screen. When Seattle took him at number 5, it was classic Pete Carroll, betting on toughness, attitude, and grit, and right away, it paid off. Witherspoon's rookie season in 2023 was everything the Seahawks hoped for. He brought instant energy to the secondary, delivering highlight hits and making plays all over the field. His breakout moment came on Monday Night Football against the Giants, where he picked off Daniel Jones and returned it 97 yards for a touchdown, a performance that put the entire league on notice. He finished his rookie year with 1.5 sacks, 14 pass breakups, and an interception, earning a Pro Bowl nod and a spot on the all-rookie team. In 2024, he built on that momentum, establishing himself as one of the most versatile young defenders in football. Seattle used him everywhere, on the boundary, in the slot, blitzing off the edge, and he thrived. Though the Seahawks defense had its ups and downs, Witherspoon was one of the few constants, playing with relentless energy and leadership beyond his years. Now, as the 2025 season begins, Witherspoon has become the emotional heartbeat of Seattle's defense. He's more polished, more disciplined, and just as aggressive as ever. The Seahawks secondary, once the Legion of Boom, is rebuilding around him, and every week he looks more and more like the kind of player that culture was built on. Devon Witherspoon's rise from an overlooked 0-star kid in Florida to a top 5 pick and defensive cornerstone is one of the best stories in the 2023 class. He may not have the hype coming in, but he's proven, play after play, that heart and hunger can be measured in stars. 6th player drafted. Paris Johnson Jr. was drafted 6th overall by the Arizona Cardinals in the 2023 NFL Draft, a towering athletic offensive tackle from Ohio State who was seen as the cornerstone of Arizona's rebuild. Standing 6'6", 310 pounds with long arms and elite footwork, Johnson was everything you want in a franchise left tackle. Coming out of Cincinnati, Ohio, Johnson was a 5-star recruit and the #1 ranked offensive lineman in the nation. He committed to Ohio State, where he started at guard before moving to left tackle in 2022. That switch unlocked his full potential. He became the anchor of one of college football's best lines and earned first-team All-American honors before declaring for the draft. When the Cardinals selected him, it wasn't just for protection, it was about stability. Kyler Murray had taken too many hits, and Arizona needed someone who could hold down that blindside for years. Johnson's rookie year in 2023 came with growing pains, but he showed promise, starting every game and improving each week. By 2024, he solidified himself as one of the most reliable young tackles in the league, durable, disciplined, and improving in both run and pass protection. Now entering the 2025 season, Johnson has quietly become the foundation of Arizona's offense. The team around him is still finding its footing, but his play hasn't wavered. The Cardinals may still be rebuilding, but with a young, dependable left tackle like Paris Johnson Jr., they've got one of the hardest positions in football already locked down. 7th player drafted. Tyree Wilson was drafted 7th overall by the Las Vegas Raiders in the 2023 NFL Draft, a raw, freakishly athletic edge rusher out of Texas Tech with sky-high potential at 6'6". Wilson looked like he was built in a lab to chase quarterbacks. Coming out of Henderson, Texas, Wilson wasn't a blue-chip recruit. He started his college career at Texas A&M before transferring to Texas Tech, where his game exploded. In 2022, he posted 7 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, and became one of the most disruptive players in the Big 12. Powerful, explosive, and impossible to block one-on-one. The Raiders saw him as the perfect complement to Max Crosby off the edge, a potential long-term pass rush duo to anchor their defense. But Wilson's rookie season in 2023 was rocky. Coming off a foot injury from college, he struggled with speed and leverage, finishing with just 3.5 sacks. In 2024, he looked more comfortable, stronger, quicker, and more confident, though the production still lagged behind expectations. His flashes were there, bull-rushing linemen, setting the edge, and forcing quarterbacks into Crosby's lane. Now in the 2025 season, Wilson's role has grown. The Raiders coaching staff has moved him around more, using him inside on passing downs and outside on early downs. He's still developing, still raw in moments, but his physical traits remain elite. Overall, he's been underwhelming for the Raiders. 8th player drafted. Bijan Robinson was drafted 8th overall by the Atlanta Falcons in the 2023 NFL Draft, a dynamic running back from Texas who was one of the most complete offensive players in the class. Robinson was a 5-star recruit who lived up to every ounce of the hype. In college, he rushed for over 3,400 yards and became known for his vision, patience, and highlight reel cuts that made defenders look silly. Atlanta drafted him to be the face of their offense, and as a rookie, he flashed that superstar potential, rushing for nearly 1,000 yards and adding over 400 through air despite inconsistent quarterback play. In 2024, with Kirk Cousins taking over, Bijan's workload and production both spiked. He became the engine on the offense, showing why he was worth a top 10 pick. Now entering the 2025 season, Robinson is already one of the league's most complete backs, a true dual threat who can change a game every time he touches the ball. The Falcons may be still figuring out their identity, but Bijan, he's already arrived. In 2025, he's had one of the best starts to a season ever. He's doing it as a runner and receiver out the backfield. 9th player drafted. Jalen Carter was drafted 9th overall by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2023 NFL Draft, a dominant defensive tackle out of Georgia who many believed was the most talented player in the entire class. Carter was the heart of Georgia's back-to-back national championship defenses, a rare mix of power, speed, and balance that made him nearly impossible to block. When he slid to number 9 due to off-field questions, Philadelphia, already stacked with former Georgia stars, didn't blink. From the moment he arrived, Carter was a game changer. His rookie season in 2023 saw him rack up 6 sacks and wreak havoc inside, immediately looking like a top-tier NFL lineman, but it was 2024 when he truly broke out, anchoring the Eagles' defensive front during their Super Bowl run. His interior pressure and relentless motor were huge reasons Philly's defense dominated down the stretch. Now entering the 2025 season, Carter's no longer just a breakout player. He's the cornerstone of the Eagles' defense, explosive, disciplined, and still only in his 3rd year. He looks every bit like the next great defensive tackle in football. 10th player drafted. Darnell Wright was drafted 10th overall by the Chicago Bears in the 2023 NFL Draft, a massive physical right tackle from Tennessee known for his power and toughness in the trenches. At 6'5", 333 pounds, Wright was one of the most dominant linemen in the SEC, holding his own against top pass rushers like Will Anderson Jr. and proving he could anchor an NFL line. His mix of size, footwork, and balance made him an easy first-round lock. When Chicago took him, the goal was clear: protect Justin Fields and finally bring stability to the offensive line. Wright's rookie year in 2023 had its ups and downs, but his strength in pass protection stood out. By 2024, he'd taken a leap forward, becoming one of the few bright spots on a struggling Bears offense. Now, heading into 2025, Wright has established himself as a cornerstone piece in Chicago's rebuild, a dependable blocker who's only getting better. The Bears still may be searching for consistency at quarterback, but at least they know one thing for sure: the right side of their line is locked down. 11th player drafted. Peter Skoronski was drafted 11th overall by the Tennessee Titans in the 2023 NFL Draft, a polished, technically sound lineman out of Northwestern who was considered one of the safest picks in the class. At 6'4", 315 pounds, Skoronski was an All-American and an anchor of Northwestern's offensive line, praised for his footwork, leverage, and intelligence. Some teams questioned his arm length, but Tennessee saw a future leader up front, and they were right. He started right away as a rookie, moving inside to left guard, where he became a stabilizing force on an offense that badly needed it. By 2024, he had developed into one of the Titans' most reliable players, protecting a rotating cast of quarterbacks and helping the team find its identity under new leadership. Heading into the 2025 season, Skoronski had become one of the NFL's better young interior linemen, consistent, disciplined, and durable. While Tennessee continues to rebuild around Will Levis, Skoronski remains one of the few pieces they know they can count on every single Sunday.
Lions select Jahmyr Gibbs, running back, Alabama.
12th player drafted. Jahmyr Gibbs was drafted 12th overall by the Detroit Lions in the 2023 NFL Draft, an explosive running back out of Alabama with elite speed, agility, and receiving ability. At 5'9", 200 pounds, Gibbs was a 5-star recruit who started his college career at Georgia Tech before transferring to Alabama, where he became one of the nation's most dangerous offensive weapons. His ability to line up anywhere, in the backfield or the slot, made him a nightmare for defenses. In Detroit, Gibbs split touches with veteran David Montgomery, but still made an instant impact as a rookie, totaling over 1,200 yards from scrimmage and helping lead the Lions to their first playoff win in decades. In 2024, his role grew even more, becoming a true RB1 in one of the NFL's most creative offenses. In 2025, Gibbs is still elite, but we're still waiting on his elite signature game this year.
13th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Lukas Van Ness, Defensive end, Iowa.
13th player drafted. Lukas Van Ness was drafted 13th overall by the Green Bay Packers in the 2023 NFL Draft, a raw but powerful edge rusher out of Iowa for his freakish strength and relentless motor. At 6'5", 272 pounds, Van Ness never even started a college game, yet dominated off the bench with his explosiveness and violent hands. Green Bay saw the upside, a development pass rusher with the tools to become a star. His rookie season in 2023 showed flashes, finishing with a few sacks and plenty of pressures, but he spent most of the year rotating behind veterans. By 2024, he began to break out, earning a starting role and becoming one of the key pieces of a young, improving Packers defense. Heading into 2025, Van Ness looks ready to make the leap. With his blend of size, effort, and athleticism, Green Bay believes he could be the next great pass rusher in Titletown, the kind who changes games on third down, but we're still waiting on him to break out. 14th player drafted. Broderick Jones was drafted 14th overall by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 2023 NFL Draft, a dominant athletic left tackle from Georgia built to anchor an offensive line for the next decade. Jones was a former 5-star recruit who started on Georgia's back-to-back national championship teams. His combination of agility, strength, and movement skills made him one of the most physically gifted linemen in the class. Pittsburgh drafted him to protect Kenny Pickett, and while his rookie season in 2023 started slow, he quickly earned a starting job and brought stability to the offensive front. In 2024, Jones took another step forward, improving his technique and becoming one of the Steelers' most consistent performers. Now, entering the 2025 season, Jones is logged in as the Steelers' franchise tackle. He's shaping up to be one of the best young linemen in the AFC after a long-term building block for Pittsburgh's offense. 15th player drafted. McDonald IV was drafted 15th overall by the New York Jets in the 2023 NFL Draft, a long, explosive edge rusher from Iowa State known for his bend, burst, and freakish athleticism. At 6'4", 250 pounds, McDonald was one of the most productive pass rushers in Big 12 history, using his length and quick first step to terrorize quarterbacks. The Jets saw him as the perfect addition to Robert Saleh's fastest attacking defense. His rookie season in 2023 was quiet, buried in a deep rotation behind players like Jermaine Johnson and Bryce Huff. But by 2024, McDonald had began to flash that upside, notching a handful of sacks and earning more snaps late in the year. Heading into the 2025 season, McDonald remains as a high upside piece in New York's pass rush rotation. The physical tools are undeniable, and he can put it all together. The Jets may have another young star on the edge of their already loaded defense. Unfortunately, the Jets are still struggling to win games. 16th player drafted. Emmanuel Forbes Jr. was drafted 16th overall by the Washington Commanders in the 2023 NFL Draft, a ball-hawking cornerback out of Mississippi who turned heads with 6 career pick sixes in college and a reputation as one of the best turnover machines in the country. At about 6'0" and 166 pounds, Forbes came into the league undersized, but his instincts, speed, and knack for making big plays made him an intriguing first-round bet. His rookie season in 2023 had promise. Forbes made his first interception in his second game and flashed some of the ball skills that made him such a standout in college. But coverage lapses, physical mismatches, and inconsistency were reoccurring issues. In 2024, things slid further. Forbes battled injuries, including a thumb surgery, and fell down the depth chart. After 20 games and 7 starts in his first 2 seasons, Washington chose to cut ties. He was waived by the Commanders on November 30th, 2024. The next team, the Los Angeles Rams, claimed him off waivers, giving Forbes a second chance at the next level. Now heading into the 2025 season, Forbes is in the prove-it phase. Still young, still talented, but under pressure to show his first-round grade can translate when he's healthy and playing consistently.
With the 17th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Christian Gonzalez.
17th player drafted. Christian Gonzalez was drafted 17th overall by the New England Patriots in the 2023 NFL Draft, a long, athletic cornerback out of Oregon who many projected as a top 10 talent. At 6'2", 200 pounds, Gonzalez had the prototype frame and fluid movement every team wants in a shutdown corner. He started hot as a rookie in 2023, locking down top receivers before a shoulder injury ended his season just 4 games in. In 2024, he bounced back strong, reclaiming his CB1 spot and quickly becoming one of the most dependable young defenders in the league. His ability to blanket receivers and anticipate routes helped New England's defense stay competitive even as the team rebuilt around a new coaching staff. Now heading into the 2025 season, Gonzalez missed the first few weeks recovering from a minor groin injury, but since returning, he's looked like himself again, smooth, composed, and still the centerpiece of the Patriots secondary. New England has quietly put together a solid start to the year behind an improved defense, and Gonzalez remains one of the biggest reasons why. 18th player drafted. that, Campbell was drafted 18th overall by the Detroit Lions in the 2023 NFL Draft, a hard-hitting linebacker out of Iowa and the heart of one of college football's best defenses. At 6'5", 249 pounds, Campbell was known for his leadership, tackling, and football IQ. He won the Butkus Award for the nation's top linebacker and became the first Iowa player to do so. Detroit drafted him to bring toughness and intelligence to the middle of their defense. As a rookie in 2023, he started slow, adjusting to the NFL speed, but came on strong late, becoming a reliable piece next to veteran Alex Anzalone. In 2024, Campbell took a major leap, leading the Lions in tackles and helping power a top 5 run defense during their playoff push. Now entering the 2025 season, Campbell has cemented himself as Detroit's defensive signal caller, a high-motor, sideline-to-sideline presence who perfectly fits the gritty identity Dan Campbell preaches. The Lions see him as their long-term anchor in the middle for years to come. 19th player drafted. Calijah Kancey was drafted 19th overall by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 2023 NFL Draft, an undersized but explosive defensive tackle out of Pitt who drew out early comparisons to Aaron Donald. At 6'1", 281 pounds, Kancey was a disruptor in college, quick off the snap, slippery through gaps, and relentless in pursuit. Tampa Bay drafted him to bring speed and interior pressure to a defense already built on physicality. His rookie season in 2023 started slow due to a calf injury, but once he got healthy, his impact was immediate. Kancey flashed elite burst and finished with several sacks, showing why the Bucs believed he could thrive despite his size. In 2024, he built on the promise, becoming one of Tampa's most consistent pass rushers and forming a dangerous duo with Vita Vea up front. His explosiveness and effort helped the Bucs stay competitive in the NFC South. Now heading into the 2025 season, Kancey continues to rise. He's become a key piece of Tampa Bay's defense, a high-motor interior rusher who's proving that quickness and leverage can be just as dominant as size and power.
With the 20th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Jaxon Smith-Njigba, wide receiver, Ohio State.
20th player drafted. Finally, Jaxon Smith-Njigba was drafted 20th overall by the Seattle Seahawks in the 2023 NFL Draft, a smooth, technically gifted wide receiver out of Ohio State who many scouts called the best route runner in the class. At 6 feet 197 pounds, Smith-Njigba was built on speed and elite spatial awareness. After a record-breaking 2021 season at Ohio State, a hamstring injury in 2022 cooled his draft stock, but Seattle saw the polish and took their shot. His rookie season in 2023 showed promise, flashing elite hands and body control while learning behind DK Metcalf. In 2024, he became a consistent threat, hitting nearly 1,000 yards and establishing himself as Seattle's most dependable target. Now in the 2025 season, with Sam Darnold under center and the offense reshaped around him, Smith-Njigba has taken over as the true WR1. He's leading the team in catches, yards, and red zone production, thriving as the focal point as a new-look Seahawks offense. 2 years later, that first-round pick is paying off. Jaxon Smith-Njigba has officially arrived as one of the league's best young wideouts and the future face of Seattle's passing game. He's truly become a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. 19 players heard their names called before Jaxon Smith-Njigba on draft night. Quarterbacks, pass rushers, tackles, all chosen before the quiet receiver from Ohio State who once rewrote record books in college. Some of those 19 have already become stars, others still finding their way, or fighting just to stay in the league. But through it all, Jaxon Smith-Njigba kept doing what he's always done, separating. He doesn't need to be the loudest or the flashiest, his game speaks for itself. Precision routes, strong hands, and a calm confidence that now carries Seattle's offense into a new era. 2 years after being the 20th pick, JSN isn't asking what could have been. He's proving what should have been. For more football content, click on this video on the screen.